All right. Well, South Carolina, another dry day, and those dry days will continue for us as we continue into the rest of the week. And not only that, but also critical fire weather concerns. That's going to also be in effect for us. Cold front that's going to sweep through on Sunday. We're going to talk about that. Maybe our first chance of rainfall in a good little bit. And then a noticeable cool start to next week. So definitely a bit of an opposite turn for what we've been seeing this week. I'm your meteorologist, Jesse Peterson, and let's go in and talk about the weather for your Thursday evening going into your future. Hopefully, everyone has had a fantastic Thursday so far. If you have not hit the like button yet, go in and do so. Right now, we have around a good around 6 people that have tuned in and only 4 likes. Also, go and hit the subscribe button if you're new. We're at 728, trying to get to 800, and share with your friends, your family members, your acquaintances, and people that you don't talk to regularly because it's free, and you can share as many times as you want. Never will cost you a dime. Let's go in and see what's going on in terms of our rainfall. Well, right now, rainfall not in the question, and I honestly think that we will continue to see this as we continue not only into tomorrow, maybe, possibly tomorrow morning, but the accumulation isn't really there, and I'll talk about that once we get to Friday, tomorrow morning when we get to the short term, but no rainfall right now. As we look at what's going on throughout the entire U.S., we have some rainfall going on all the way up into the New England areas with some severe weather. We have severe weather going on in Vermont, New York, rainfall going on throughout the Mid-Atlantic, going on over inside of the Appalachian Mountains, some severe weather going on in Tennessee, Arkansas, and even some rainfall going on down here in Texas, rainfall with some snowfall going on up here inside the Northwest, going through Idaho, Montana, the Dakotas, the High Plains, all those areas. Now, what about for our cloud cover? Well, cloud cover right now seems to be more on the lesser side, which is, again, not a shocker. We were expecting clouds to kind of decrease today going into tonight. And if we go in and look at that cloud cover for the future, you definitely can see what I was just talking about. Nice, clear conditions. As we move through tonight, though, here's 2 a.m. Definitely can see a bit of an increase in terms of that cloud cover up there in the very far upstate. But if you go on all the way through to 3, 4, 5 a.m., going all the way to 7 to 8 a.m., we have now cloud cover moving over towards the south and east, cloud cover throughout the upstate, throughout the Midlands, throughout the Low Country, throughout the PD, Grand Strand areas, all throughout tomorrow morning. Tomorrow afternoon comes along, and we have cloud cover now in the western parts of the state going on throughout the southern Midlands, throughout the Low Country, throughout the Grand Strand areas. And then by the time we get to around 4 p.m. now on Friday, tomorrow, cloud cover now moving its way, continuing its way east until we get into around Saturday, here Saturday, 2 o'clock in the morning. Now we have cloud cover really covering over the entire state by the time we get into Friday night going into Saturday morning. Then Saturday at around 9 a.m. comes along, a bit of a break, but it will quickly come back Saturday afternoon. Now, what about for our current temperatures? Right now we have around a good 69 in Somerville, 68, Charleston, 70, Beaufort. So I'm seeing definitely a trend throughout the Low Country. High 60s, low 70s. Same thing for the Grand Strand area, 70, Conway, 68, Myrtle Beach, Georgetown. But once you get to the Midlands, it shifts. Same thing with the PD areas. You're seeing 78 in Hartsville, 73, Lugoff, 76, Columbia, Aiken. Upstate kind of in the same manner, 75 in Spartanburg, Gaffney, 74 in Greenville, 73 in Lawrence, 75 Union, 73 Rock Hill. Now, what about for our air quality? Air quality is looking like we are mostly inside that moderate category, which is not bad, but it's not the best. If you're going to be out tonight, make sure that you are aware and just make sure that you're paying attention to the air quality, making sure it doesn't get too bad. And if you're inside of the areas that's not yellow, just the regular bland areas, those areas are good. We have nothing to watch for there. Now, what about for our high temperatures for tomorrow? High temperatures for tomorrow, we're talking about that same old story of 90s, but this time it's going to be more widespread. We're talking about 93 in Columbia, 92 in Orangeburg, 92 in Moncks Corner, 92 in Walterboro, 91 inside of Florence, Dillon, and then once you get more into like the more coastal areas, maybe even a bit more into the upstate. We're talking about temperatures up into the high 80s, maybe even still some low 90s. Coastal areas, 87 in Charleston, 89 Hilton Head Island, 82 Myrtle Beach, 89 in Georgetown tomorrow. So it's going to be hot tomorrow. Hot, hot, hot tomorrow, no matter where you are. And for the low temperatures for tonight, kind of reflects it. 61 from Greenville to Greenwood, 64 to Columbia, 60 Kingstree, 61 inside of Moncks Corner, 65 in Charleston, 62 Georgetown, 64 Myrtle Beach. So we definitely will continue to go on and receive these mild, warm, low overnight temperatures. Rainfall is not expected, so you don't have to worry about that in any capacity. And then in terms of the crazy score, if you have no idea what the crazy score is, it is a score that we see how active our conditions are throughout the entire state of South Carolina. And right now, tonight, we're at a 15. Why? Well, mainly because, number one, mostly clear to clear skies across the state, only with patchy clouds, maybe even some late night patchy fog possible in some inland areas, but nothing too bad. Low temperatures obviously being a bit high, dry conditions, and elevated fire weather concerns, potentially just due to that low humidity and the ongoing drought, dry conditions, anything like that. So that's what we're looking at in terms of tonight, just everything that we've heard for the past, week or so. SPC outlook for tonight, technically there is still a risk of thunderstorms, even though the precipitation isn't really there. The ingredients are there, so if somehow some shower activities do make it through tonight, it could potentially turn into a thunderstorm in the very far, far upstate. Now that's what they have for right now. Obviously, they update it in a little bit, but for right now, it's there. It's there. Now, as we go on and look at the SPC outlook for tomorrow, nothing here, and then the SPC outlook for Saturday. Again, kind of like the same thing, that very far upstate, risk of thunderstorms on Saturday. For fire weather for tonight, it's still there for the upstate, still also there over for the northern PD areas. I think it's about calming down by now because we're getting into the overnight hours and the humidity's trying to rise up a little bit more. But for right now, it's still there. So make sure that you're still not burning anything, especially if you're in those orange areas. And of course, we're not done there. If we go on and look at Friday comes along, and now we're talking about a little bit less of a threat, but it's still there. Spartanburg, Rock Hill, Gaffney's included in there. And then the main day is Saturday. I'm looking at Saturday because it could potentially be one of the biggest fire weather days that we've had in a good little bit. I mean, we're talking about critical conditions almost statewide, from the Walhalla areas to the Oconee County areas, down through Greenville, Spartanburg, Rock Hill, through Columbia, through Aiken, through Florence, through Orangeburg, over there near Walterboro, and all the way down into Horry County in Williamsburg County. So a lot of areas are included in this risk, and I would not be surprised to see it get a bit more larger. So what do I mean by that? I mean just expanding in general. We may even see a little red be put in there as well. That'd be a level 2 out of 3, so we'll see what happens there. But for right now, Saturday is looking like a pretty big fire weather day, and just if you were planning to burn anything at all on Saturday, I just would not. It's just not the right day to do so. And Sunday, I mean, we're still not done. We still are not done. Sunday comes along, and guess what? That same area that we are talking about up there in the upstate has another risk again for fire weather. Greenville, Spartanburg, Rock Hill, the entire upstate is included in there. And no, we're still not done after that, even though it's definitely a lot more of a smaller risk. But Monday, April the 20th, we're talking about another potential critical fire weather condition up there just to the north of Rock Hill. So a lot of things to look at here in terms of fire weather. And I've been saying it, and I'm going to continue to say it. If you don't have to burn anything, don't do it unless you absolutely have to. And if you have to, just make sure that you are aware, make sure that you are careful with it, make sure that you're watching it. I mean, I've saw fires today start over there near UNC Charlotte up there. I know it's in North Carolina, but just, I mean, as, you know, I think the person who even started the fire didn't even notice that they even started it, and then somebody just happened to come across it, and it was just a little brush fire that just happened. And so, you know, these things, I mean, it can start quickly. So make sure that you are aware of everything that you're doing. Now, in terms of excessive rainfall, obviously that's not expected. And models wise. So we're going to go and look at the short-term future first. Start off here at 9 o'clock p.m. And as we go in and push this forward, you can definitely see that rainfall starting to kind of move its way into South Carolina a little bit. Here's Friday, 2 a.m. We're looking at isolated shower activity in the upstate. And this is not enough to accumulate, definitely not enough to take down a drought, but it's a little refresher that may try to, give some people some hope for some good rainfall. But again, like I said, I don't know if it's really going to accumulate much. And according to the National Weather Service, they don't really think it's going to accumulate much either because they still have no accumulation for the entire state. So pretty low confidence there. Even if we go on and push through into Saturday, going into Saturday afternoon, look at this. All this rainfall that's coming in from the west, that's moving its way in. Moving its way in. So this is Saturday, 2 p.m. And then by the time we get into... We're going to look at the NAM. We usually don't look at the NAM that often. But we're going to go on and look at it. The NAM 3-kilometer model, this is for 2 p.m. where we just ended off at. And the NAM actually has this system kind of trying to move in past Sunday morning. So kind of like maybe later Sunday morning is when the models have this thing kind of moving in. So we'll see what happens with this, and overall the ARRR is going to give us the better picture. In terms of what the NAM has to say for tonight, the NAM doesn't really say too much for tonight. May have like a couple little isolated sprinkles here and there, but nothing like that's going to help us out. So let's go on and look at the GFS. We're going to start off here at the 48-hour mark. And as we just go on and push this forward, what do you see? Rainfall moving its way in from the west, moving its way eastward. And you definitely are seeing some rainfall in activity to our west. But, it's not really going to transfer its way over into the state. What do I mean by that? We're starting off here Saturday, 8 p.m., going to 11 p.m. here on Saturday. And look, as we go into Sunday, here's around 5 a.m., 8 a.m., 11 a.m. We have some rainfall, some sprinkles here and there, but you don't really see too much going on throughout the state of South Carolina. It's almost like that huge amount of energy kind of just split as it goes over us. And that high pressure takes over immediately after that cold front leaves, bringing us with barely any rainfall for a good amount of us as we go throughout this weekend. So that's why I said hope for that you get that rainfall this weekend, because even the littlest of, showers could definitely bring a little bit more relief than not receiving any at all. So definitely bank for a little isolated shower to move through as we go through into Sunday. Now, I think the more you're into the upstate and the Midlands, the more chance you have. But even where I am down here inside the low country, and on the forecast, they have a 20% chance for us. So a 20% is a 20% shot. As we go into Monday, going into Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we're just looking dry throughout all of next week until maybe we get into the weekend again. But again, it's just not a lot. Good amount of rainfall may try to come in here. This is Wednesday, April the 29th, but that's 300 hours out. And so if we just go on and take this model as a whole, we go all the way, we're going to kind of stop right around here. So we're going to stop here Wednesday, April the 29th. And let's just see how much rainfall we're going to see. Let's just see. Let's go and take a look at the total QPF. What do you see here? Definitely not a lot. You see maybe a tenth of an inch down here in the Tri-County area, maybe down here inside of Myrtle Beach. But other than that, everybody else is around a half an inch, or not a half an inch, but a 5/100 of an inch or less. 5/100 of an inch or less. That's not a lot. For 300 hours, a tenth of an inch of rainfall over 300 hours, that's going to cause for some major drought growth. It will. I'm not going to try and sugarcoat it. I'm not going to try and just say, oh, well, maybe just it won't be as warm or something like that. No, that will cause extreme drought growth if we only see a tenth of an inch throughout a little bit of the state in 300 hours. 300 hours, that goes all the way to April the 29th. April the 29th is 13 days away. That's about 2 weeks with some people still not seeing rainfall. And I'm going to show the drought in just a moment. I'm going to show the drought in just a moment. I already have my prediction made, and, I'm 100% confident that that's the answer. But still, no rainfall throughout 300 plus hours for some of these areas, that's going to cause for some drought growth. And not only that, but if we go on and look at the ensembles as well, ensembles come along for the GEFS. What do they have? Now, the GEFS, obviously, this is the ensemble, so it's going to have a little bit more, but still only around like a half an inch at most, maybe 7/10 of an inch. Again, the ensemble show kind of like a bunch of members put together, so that's why it's a bit more higher. It's a mean, which means it's an average. So just make sure that you're aware of that. This is more of a average type model. The first one I just showed you where we barely had any rainfall, that was just a one model thing. It wasn't multiple put together. And it does show a good amount, but will this happen? Only time will tell. Only time will tell. Even if we go into Saturday, May the 2nd, around maybe like an inch at most for a good amount of areas, maybe an inch and a half, probably at the max. Now, what about for temperatures? Because obviously precipitation is not going to be too kind to us. But if we go on and look at temperatures are going to bring us 15 to 20 degrees above average by the time we get into tomorrow. 15, 20 degrees above average. We move into Saturday, still 15, 20 degrees above average. But then Sunday comes along and it drops our temperatures down pretty dramatically. We go all the way into Sunday at 5 p.m., 8 p.m., 11 p.m. as well. And cold air activity kind of just continues to go on and move its way down towards the south and east, covering us all up with cooler temperatures. But as we go into next week, watch this. A huge rebound might try to happen. We get into around Tuesday at 2 p.m., and now we're starting to see maybe some warmer than average temperatures. So these cool temperatures, obviously, once we move more and more into spring, summer, we really are going to start to see these cold blasts not really last as long as what they usually would during the wintertime. So these cold blasts, they may bring us 10, 15 degrees below average, but for the most part, that warm air is going to take right back over relatively quickly by the time we get into midweek next week. We're going to Thursday, going into Friday, and now we're talking about temperatures 10 degrees above average again by the time we go into next weekend. So that's what we're looking at in terms of temperatures for the future. A little bit of a cool down this weekend on Sunday, and then maybe a bit at the beginning of the week. But as we get into midweek, the end of the week, it's going to rise right back up. And then as we go into the week after next week, it's a bit far out, but it's talking about maybe another cool down as we go into very, very, very late April, going into early March. Whoa, I'm a whole month behind. Early May, I guess because they both have M's in them. And that's all they have to say in terms of the anomalies. What about for the official temperatures themselves? We go all the way into Friday. Obviously, tomorrow we're talking about widespread 90s. Saturday comes along, again, widespread 90s. Sunday comes along, may try to bring us up into the 80s, for the areas that don't get hit with the cold front as early. I talked about this yesterday. I said that if the cold front hits later, then we're going to have that time to kind of get up into the 80s, 90s. But if it hits earlier, then nobody will have that chance and we'll be down pretty early. Temperatures will be down pretty early. And we may be having one of those times to where the temperatures are warmer during the nighttime than they are during the daytime. But, we'll see what happens. We're talking about low temperatures getting back down to the 40s as we get into Monday. Going into Tuesday, we're talking about high temperatures into the high 70s, maybe even the low 80s on Wednesday. Thursday comes along, we're back up to the mid 80s, maybe even again to the mid to upper 80s on Friday. And then by the time we get into next weekend, we're back up into the 80s and 90s again, and we get back to it relatively quickly, which is why I was saying warmer temperatures are going to take right back over, especially the more you get into summertime. Now, if we go on and look at the ensembles, then we'll go on and talk about the drought monitor. We're getting to that right now. I just want to check out these last couple of temperatures real quick for the ensembles. And for right now, it says that we are going to continue to kind of warm up, stay in those like 80s, 90s, but then maybe a little bit of a cool down as we go into late April, going into early May, potentially. So, that's not just a one model thing that we just saw. The ensembles are kind of having that downtrend as well in terms of temperatures. So pretty much I think the whole thing that we should take away from this is that definitely we should go on and just prepare for super warm, super hot temperatures, but obviously we are not done in terms of our cool temperatures yet, and I mean down to the 40s or so. So let's go on now and talk about the drought. So drought predictions right now. If you don't know what the drought prediction is, the U.S. Drought Monitor puts out a forecast for the drought, and pretty much we just go on and guess and see what it's going to be. And to be honest, there's only one real option. Only really one real option, and that's the drought has expanded. There is no way that the drought has shrunk / stayed the same. So sorry to whoever the 20% was who picked that. The drought is gone, definitely not. And the drought and the abnormally dry is gone, absolutely not as well. And, if we're looking at it from a standpoint of what has happened over the past week, what really has happened? I mean, we're talking about warming temperatures. We're talking about pretty much zero rainfall. Zero rainfall. I just don't see a world to where the drought has shrunk or stayed the same just at all. At all. I can't see it. But we're going to go and look at the observations real quick. Like I said, I've already made my prediction. I made it earlier today. And I already said what it was. The drought has expanded. But let's go ahead and look and see the observed precipitation. And as we go past throughout the past 7 days, what do you see? Not a drop of rainfall throughout the state. So, yeah, the drought has definitely expanded. I'm very, very, very confident on that. So let's go on and give ourselves a drum roll real quick. And let's go on and check and see who has won for tonight. Yes, easily a drought has expanded. We're seeing definitely that D3 now, going more into the Tri-County area. Charleston County is now inside the extreme drought now. Southern Dorchester County now is inside of an extreme drought. Very, very southern, or I think that's Tidal Berkeley County, is inside of a D3 extreme drought now. Up here inside of Marlborough County, Chesterfield County, there's now an extreme drought. We see a huge expansion over here for the D3 in the upstate. And there still is one area here, very western Barnwell County, very southern Aiken County, that's not inside of a drought right now. So that rainfall that we got a long time ago now at this point, to where I think a good amount of us saw around like an inch or so of rainfall that one weekend. It was like a couple of weekends ago. That rainfall is still kind of holding this area down strong. Because if that rainfall did not happen, I mean, we could be talking about D3s all throughout the Midlands as well. So, I mean, I don't even have to check last week. I know for sure that this is an expansion, and honestly, we just gotta hope for more rainfall, but it's not gonna be anytime soon. Not gonna be anytime soon. So we just gotta keep on sticking it out and just keep on hoping for the best at this point. So let's go on now and talk with the audience. If you want to be a part of the audience, you can by joining us here at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Let's see what the audience has to say for tonight. Starting off with my Aunt Lulu, who was here first tonight. She says, good evening, everyone. I pray that everyone had a wonderful day. Well, I did. Thank you so much for that. Today in Georgetown, it was beautiful. Our high was around 84, currently 68. Well, at my house, right now, it is currently, and I keep on clicking the wrong thing, but currently it's around 70. And then the high temperature for today was around 87. Mr. Chris says, good evening, everyone. Hope you had a great day. Well, I did. Thank you so much for that. Got you around 89 degrees here in Moncks Corner. Mr. Anthony says, good evening, everyone. Good evening to you. And then Mr. Chris says, currently it's around 74. Let's see. My Aunt Lulu says, today my classmates and I celebrated our birthday by the river, downtown Georgetown, and it's beautiful. Well, I'm glad that you were able to go in and do so. I'm assuming you mean birthday for like a more like team birthday thing, not yours. I'm pretty sure that's what you mean. But if that's not, please elaborate. Let me know. And then Mr. Chris said the heat index was around 91. My nana says, hello, Jay and all. I actually ate and slept the whole day until around 6:30. I went out for the mail only, and it was so nice outside. I lingered out for a moment. Well, glad to hear that you got some outside time today, and a restful day as well. Continue our way down. My Lewis says, I'm feeling wonderful. I pray that you and your... Oh, talking to Mr. Chris, excuse me. Please remember to go and hit the like button and the subscribe button. Also share with everyone that you know. It's free, helps the channel grow, and gets vital information out to those who need it. Absolutely. Right now, we have around a good 13 people tuned in and only 8 likes. So go and hit the like button if you have not already. Continuing our way down. Malu says, come on, Rain, we need you. Absolutely. While hot tomorrow, got a funeral to go to around 2 p.m. Yes, I mean, it's going to be nice. It's going to be hot, though. But it's not going to be raining, at least. Mr. Chris has had a couple more brush fires today here inside of Moncks Corner again today. And yeah, I mean, like I said, I saw that one video of a fire starting. And, you know, they can start off pretty easily. That's why I say, even if you're not inside of the orange area, I mean, because Moncks Corner is not inside of the orange area, not inside the fire area at all, you still have to be careful. Because this entire state is vulnerable for a fire to start quickly and for it to get going quickly. Even if, you know, it's not windy, just because it's so dry. Then continue our way down. Anything is better than nothing. Mount Lewis says, oh my, I didn't realize that the drought could cause this much of a problem. Yes, it definitely can. Drought can cause huge amounts of problems. And that's all that I can see here. So let's go on now. First off, end this because we are done with the drought monitor. So that was the final results right here. Milo said, I meant that 4 of us in the month of April celebrated my birthday. Oh, it's on Monday. Okay, well, we sure will go on and give you a round of applause on Monday. When that does come along. But that's all that I can see here throughout the chat. So let's go on and talk about the 4 areas outside of South Carolina. You might be asking 4 areas. You know, what am I talking about? I'm talking about San Antonio, Texas, Raleigh, North Carolina, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, as well as Duncan, Oklahoma. The reason why we talk about these 4 areas is because we have people from these areas who tune in almost nightly, and because they tune in almost nightly, we go on and give them their forecast for them. So starting off with San Antonio first, as always, we have low temperatures tonight at around 70, high temperature for tomorrow at 91, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at around 69. Precipitation, not expected at this time until around this weekend, but for the most part, we're pretty much just staying rain-free throughout tomorrow. Now, what about for your long-term future, severe weather, excessive rainfall, anything like that? Well, excessive rainfall for you is not expected at this time. It's not expected at this time. Severe weather, that's also not expected either. Now, what about for your future? It does look like right now that you are kind of just in this active period where it's going to rain pretty much almost every single day next week. I mean, Saturday 50%, Sunday 20%, 60% on Monday. Then you have a 30% on Tuesday, 20% on Wednesday. So it's going to continue to be active for you. And then in terms of temperatures are going to continue to go up as well. I mean, we're talking about temperatures kind of staying in that 70 range as you go into this weekend. But then high temperature is going to be up only into the 60s on Monday. Then Tuesday comes along, and, you know, you start to warm up a little bit, but, I mean, even as you get into Wednesday, Thursday, only the low 80s. Now, what about for Raleigh, North Carolina? You have low temperatures tonight at 65, high temperature for tomorrow at 91, or, 89, excuse me, that was for San Antonio, and then low temperatures tonight at around a good 64. Now, precipitation is not expected. Sunday, you know, you have a little bit of a chance for shower activity of 50% chance, but everything else remains dry for you. Temperatures for you are going to drop. Cold front's going to pass through. High temperature, like on Monday, is going to be like 66, but you're going to quickly warm back up into the 80s again. Severe weather for you, I mean, the only real threat that you have is fire weather. Not only tonight, but tomorrow, Saturday, just tomorrow and Saturday. Sunday and Monday, you're really close, but you're not quite in that orange area yet. But you should still be careful either way, honestly. I would still say, you know, don't burn anything. Continuing into next week. because even though you're not inside the orange, it's still going to be pretty dry and pretty vulnerable for fires to start. And then what about your future? Well, I mean, I pretty much covered a little bit of it, but temperatures for you are going to kind of continue to go down. But then next week they'll go up into the 80s. Now for Philadelphia, low temperatures tonight at around 68. High temperature for tomorrow at around 83. And then low temperatures tomorrow night going to be at around 58. So yeah, you're going to drop a little bit in terms of your temperatures. And those low temperatures, are going to be pretty low. I mean, down to the 50s. But one thing that you do have to look at is your high temperatures. High temperature on Monday is 51. So you're definitely going to be cooling down next week. I mean, that's not an area of concern or not an area of questioning. You will be warm. You will be cooling down as you go into next week. And then if we go on and look at your rainfall chances, rainfall chance not only tonight and tomorrow, but also going into Saturday and Sunday. Saturday night, Sunday, morning, afternoon, Sunday night. And even if you go on and look at your severe weather, excessive rainfall, none of that's expected, so you're good there. And then finally, we have probably the most active area, Duncan, Oklahoma. With low temperatures tonight, 67, high temperature for tomorrow, 80, low temperatures for tomorrow night at around 46. And, I will say that you have a chance of severe weather tomorrow, and it has blown up a good little bit. It definitely has blown up a good little bit because not only do you have a slight risk of severe weather for tomorrow, you have a 5% chance of tornadoes, you have a 15% chance of damaging winds, and a 15% hatch risk of damaging hail, meaning that you have a a significant chance of damaging hail. I shouldn't have said a 15% chance of damage. Well, yeah, it is actually a 15% chance of damaging hail, but the Sig 1 risk is there, meaning that some of that hail could potentially be of up to 2 inches in diameter tomorrow. So make sure that you are aware of that, because that is something that's pretty dangerous. We take every storm threat here seriously, no matter what it is, of 2%, 1%, 0.000001%, no matter what it is, we still take it seriously. And that's why you see severe thunderstorms tomorrow night. And it's also going to be windy as well. You're going to be talking about wind gusts tomorrow night of up to 40 miles per hour, regardless if you have a storm or not. Even if it doesn't storm, you're still going to be talking about wind gusts of up to 40 miles per hour. Other than that, though, you stay severe weather free. You have a little bit of a chance for some isolated flash flooding on Friday, but other than that, that's it. Now, what about for your future? Past all of this, looks like it's going to dry up a lot, especially as you get into next week. Next chance of rainfall after tomorrow is going to be like next week, Thursday. So you have a long way to go, and temperatures will be kind of just staying in the 80s. You will be cooling down a little bit, like 46 tomorrow night, 65 on Saturday, but you're going to kind of go back up into around like the 80s or so by the time you get into Wednesday. And that's all that I can see here throughout the 4 areas outside of South Carolina. So let's see what's going on right now throughout the entire U.S. weather news-wise. Well, right now it does seem like that we are still seeing severe thunderstorms that are capable and that are expected to go on from the northeast into Texas through the night and for the central/southern plains on Friday. Considerable flooding impacts are ongoing in the upper Great Lakes and expected to continue through the weekend. Fire weather concerns persist in the plains, the mid-Atlantic, and the southeast. And there is also late season snow over the northern/the central Rockies and the northern plains as well. So yeah, late season snow going on over there. We also have some, I think we already talked about the fire weather a little bit over inside of the plains. And then for the most part, I think that's about it. Maybe some freezing temperatures. I mean, obviously, if you're having snow over there, you're going to have those freezing temperatures. But, from Colorado over to Utah to Nevada to California, that's where we're talking about these freezing temperatures at. And that's all I have to say here. So let's go on and look at our top fans of the night for tonight. Top fans of the night for tonight. 1 second. It does look like if I go in and look, again, I have to figure out a way how to automate this. But it seems like it was still between Miss Chris and my Aunt Lula. Let's go ahead and check it out. I see around 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And then I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Yeah. So Mr. Chris did get it for tonight. My Aunt Lula's at number 2. And then Mr. Anthony's at number 3. So congratulations to the 3 of y'all for being the top fans of the night for tonight. If you want to be part of the top fans, you can by joining us here at 9 o'clock p.m., being here early, being a subscriber, and being active. If you do all those 4 things, you guaranteed will get one of those top spots. Let's go ahead and give them a round of applause. And that's all I have to say for today. We had some pictures being sent in from Thad that was a bit late, but I did see them. Let's see, do we have any late ones today? No, not today. So let's go on and end this off. Couple of news. Number 1, tomorrow. We'll be back tomorrow morning for your Friday morning forecast update. I may not be here Friday evening. I'm, trying to coordinate some stuff right now, but I may not be here tomorrow evening. Just leaving that on the table. May be here, may not. I'll put out a post to, in the community section. And saying, what's going to happen, if I'm going to be there, if I'm not going to be there. And then also, everything else should continue as planned. Sunday night, we're going to be here same time for the April the 19th through the April the 25th forecast Sunday night. Make sure that you're there for that. And that's all I have to say. Next week is the last full week of April. So we will have that to look forward to, and as we go into May. And then also, Trail says, greetings, everyone, greetings to you. And that's all I have to say here. So I'll be back tomorrow morning. Make sure that you're there. And potentially tomorrow evening for your Friday evening forecast update. Everyone have a fantastic rest of your Thursday. And make sure you go on and hit those 2 buttons, subscribe, and like before you leave if you're new.